Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they're bad parents to me? I, 16 female, am the oldest of 5, and my parents have a hard time supporting our family. It wasn't always like this, but when I was around 7 or 8, my dad's company folded and life changed a lot. At the time, my mom was pregnant with my 3rd sibling. Life changed a lot, but mostly for me. As the oldest, they figured I should make sacrifices so my siblings wouldn't have to, and I went along with it for a long time. But in the last 2 years, it has been making me bitter and resentful. I think the reason I feel this way is I had a field trip come up that my whole class was going on, and I wanted to go so bad. It would have been the first field trip in 6 years, and it would have been great to go with my friends. Before, there were always others who didn't go, but that year everyone was going. And my parents couldn't make it work because my younger siblings had theirs coming up. It was like a switch flipped, because before, I just kind of accepted that as the oldest, I needed to be more understanding. But suddenly, I wasn't okay with it. I don't feel like I should be sacrificing again and again so my siblings can have a childhood with fun stuff. I think we should all get something on occasion. But my parents didn't want to listen then when I tried to bring it up, so I dropped it. With everything in the past year, stuff has been even more rough. I ended up getting a job during COVID so I could maybe treat myself on occasion and save for stuff my parents couldn't save for. I hit a breaking point 2 weeks ago. My sister's birthday was coming up, and my parents' money that was saved for her gift went onto the electrician instead. And since they know I work, they asked me to give them my money for her gift. Not let them borrow. No talk of even paying me back. Just give it. I said no, and they told me to think of my sister. I snapped and told them I was tired of them being better parents to my siblings than me, and it was clear they didn't give a damn unless it's them. Of course, it resulted in a fight, and now I'm being blamed. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your parents now take you for granted. You are not the 3rd parent. Is there any other adult relative you can lean on? Do you have plans for the future? If you're planning on college or extensive post-high school vocation training, you need to make sure you take care of that. And don't let your parents demand you sacrifice that future to take care of your siblings. Do not give them the money. I'm betting they didn't do anything for your birthday. I can't help but wonder if Opie's parents will expect Opie to work after school to pay for siblings' college. Not an a-hole. They should be treating all their kids equally. You didn't have a field trip in 6 years. They should have made an effort to make sure you got one. What did they get for you for your birthday? I'm guessing nowhere near as much as they want to spend on your sister? As soon as it is legal to do so, make sure they have no access to your money. In some countries it is 18, but in others it is less. Hopefully that is the case for you. And while they can control your bank account, hide the money elsewhere and safe enough so they can't accidentally find it. Not an a-hole. Your parents shouldn't have had more children than they can afford to raise, and you have every right to point this out. I'm really sorry you're in this situation, and I hope you get to go on your trip. Exactly. What were they thinking? That more babies would help their financial problems? Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I warned you when our son got a lock for his room? So here's the problem. My son Simon, 16, moved out of the room he used to share with his little brother and got his own room a few months back. Ever since, has been complaining about his mom barging in without knocking and interrupting his sleep and studying, sometimes when he's changing. I know that she's his mother, but he says he's got his own room and has a job and is learning to become an independent adult, but doesn't feel like his privacy is being respected even when that's his mom. He says he's not a kid anymore and is entitled to at least get a knock on the door before she comes in. He was getting tired of her not listening to him, so he came to me and said, Dad, you need to help me set some clear boundaries with Mom. So I spoke to her about her need to knock before entering Simon's room. She was like, What? And no, we're family, not strangers. Do you really expect me to foolishly knock on the door 5 times a day? That's ridiculous. Also said, Who knocks doors in their own home? I told her my family, for instance. She made a face, then went on a rant about how my family hate each other, and the way they treat each other like they were strangers is shameful. I told her family or strangers, it's about respecting one's privacy. We had an argument about it, and I told her if she wasn't going to stop with the barging and refuse to knock on the door before entering, then our son will get a lock. She did it again at 11 p.m. She barged in when our son was asleep. He jumped up because he got scared. Once he told me this, I told him to go ahead and get a lock and pay for it with his own money. There was literally no other way. My wife saw it and got upset. And my brother was visiting when she was raising her voice at me, questioning if I really went ahead and got a lock for Simon despite her disapproval, and said that I caught her off guard. And it's not okay because this teaches our children that they can manipulate one parent into doing what they want. I told her that A, Simon got the lock, not me, and B, I already warned her about the possibility of him getting a lock because he was getting tired of her boundary crossing, so she should have expected this outcome. She mentioned the same above points in her defense and said locks mean secrets, and that's not good. My brother was sitting watching while she was complaining. She began chewing him out when he asked her to let Simon keep the lock and said it wasn't a big deal. She stopped talking to me and Simon till we removed the lock. But I have no intentions in doing that. Was I at fault for my stance? I think your wife is a nahal, but the way you handled it with your wife was cowardly. You supported what your son did. In fact, you told him to do it, but then you played stupid by essentially saying he paid for it. I had no part in it. If you believed in your son's position, you should have supported that to your wife. In fact, if you felt so strongly, you should have told her the next time you do that, I will personally install a lock on his door. Everyone sucks here, except Simon. I agree. You sort of threw your son under the bus here. Sorry that your wife didn't handle her end well. It's totally respectful to knock on doors even in your own home. My 3-year-old has no problem with this concept. But your son needed more backup than you gave him. Everyone sucks here. Yo, seriously. My 3-year-old knocks, and we knock before we go in the bathroom to help her wipe. Sure, privacy is a bizarre concept in terms of she doesn't have secrets, really. But you model the behavior you expect from them, and it pays off. When you think they're asleep. The mom in this post is going to wonder why her children don't visit or call her. Talk to her about stuff when they're adults / out of the house. And this is part of the reason. Not today, Hull. So, do you have intimacy with your wife with the door open? Do you shower with the door open? Poop. There are reasonable things that one does in private that even a mother does not need to know about, much less see. Especially if you're a 16-year-old dude with raging hormones. Not today, Hull. What the hell? Why is this such a big deal for her? It's unreasonable to put up a fight against someone who's telling you to just knock before entering their private space. Good on you for advising him to get a lock. Also, why is she going to his room at 11 at night? Has she always acted like this, or is it new behavior? It's a big deal for her because she feels her authority as his mother is slipping away, and she doesn't like it. I had kids young, and both my and my ex-wife's primary identities were parent. As the kids got older, I worked to transition away from that, but she found herself very adrift as a mother who didn't have young children anymore, and she kind of lost her way. Maybe something like that is happening here. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my daughter go on a diet? My wife and I have been married for 17 years. We have a 14-year-old daughter, and we have 4 other children. Our daughter is a beautiful girl, and she was quite skinny when she was young. But since entering her teenage years, she has gained a little weight. She is by no means fat, or even overweight, but just not as skinny as she was when she was a kid. She's tall at 170 centimeters, 5'7", and weighs 64 kilograms, 143 pounds, with BMI of about 22, which is not considered overweight. But my wife is concerned because of her weight gain from when she was 12 to now. She does ballet and gymnastics, so she stays active. However, my wife is taking a more drastic approach and wants to put her on a diet while she's home for the summer holidays. My wife so far started nudging her to eat healthier. Last dinner, during supper, as my daughter asked for another slice of pie at dessert, my wife made a face and told her you've had enough. My wife has also told our cook not to make her any desserts or unhealthy fried snacks. She is also working with a dietitian to make a weight loss plan for her. My daughter seems to have noticed her mother's disapproval, and their relationship has become strained. It doesn't help that my wife keeps mentioning how thin our younger daughter, 11, is. I think part of this stems from my wife's background as a fashion model. She has been underweight for her entire life. When she was in her teens/early 20s, she was skeletal. She was 180 centimeters, 5'11", and 53 kilograms, 116 pounds, at her lowest weight. Now she is a healthier weight, but still very thin. I butted heads with my wife today after she got upset at our daughter for getting ice cream with a friend. She said this was her 4th time this week eating ice cream, and that she needs to be more serious about eating better. I told my wife she's been controlling and making our daughter self-conscious. My wife said she needs to toughen up and make better choices, or else she will end up fat. Of course, this conversation was not in earshot of our daughter, but still, I was shocked at my wife for saying that. I agree with encouraging her to make healthier choices, but flat out veto the idea of putting her on a diet plan with the goal of losing weight. She called me an enabler and accused me of spoiling her. Now for the top comment. Not today, Hal. Your wife needs to shut up before she gives your daughter an eating disorder. I'd honestly give an ultimatum at this point. How is the daughter in a situation similar to this one? My mom bullied me into developing anorexia. Same, bulimia. Anti-A, anti-A, anti-A. Please, don't let your wife do this. She's steering your daughter towards a lifelong and healthy relationship with food. She's literally a teenager. She's supposed to weigh more than she did 2 years ago. She's growing strong and her body's maturing. Of course she weighs more. Your wife, from her background, probably has her own issues with eating. Do not let her pass on her own insecurities to your daughter. Also, she does gymnastics and ballet. Muscle weighs more than fat. Your wife seems to think that if you're not supermodel stick thin, you're fat. That's extremely unhealthy outlook to have, and even worse to pass on to your daughter. Not today, Hal, and do not let your wife do this. Not today, Hal. Your wife is driving your healthy and athletic daughter towards self-esteem issues and a possible eating disorder. Your former fashion model wife is obsessed with being model thin, which more often than not is underweight, which isn't necessarily healthy. Your daughter is a growing adolescent dancer and a gymnast, which means that she's not only going through hormonal changes, but as an athlete, her body mass has more muscle, which is heavier on a scale. Your wife needs to be less focused on the appearance of thinness and numbers on a scale and more about your daughter's overall health. Have your wife talk to your daughter's doctor and go with her medical advice. You may also want to have your daughter talk to a therapist. Good luck. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for rejecting a birthday party that has to be shared with my sister? My 15 female, sister 12 female, and I have birthdays 1 month apart. Mine in June and hers in July. The other night, my parents told me they couldn't afford for both of us to have birthday parties, or in my case have a night at a movie with some friends and a sleepover after. So they have decided we should celebrate together, at the house, with their friends and mine. I'll be 16 and she'll be 13. That sounds like a hellish birthday celebration. Hanging around a bunch of 12/13-year-olds, and my sister annoying me the whole time, because every birthday, she insists on me playing with her or bouncing her in the bounce house. And if it's supposed to be about me too, then I don't want that stuff. So I told my parents it was okay, I didn't need to celebrate. I'd rather just let it be her birthday party. They're mad because my sister was so excited by the idea. They told her a week before me, and now I've said no and she was already expecting it. They're also mad because I showed no excitement. They asked if there was any way to change my mind, so I said, what about just a sleepover for me separate from the joint party? And they said no. And why not have my friends sleep over that night after the party since my sister will be doing the same? We did that once. Just 2 regular sleepovers. And my sister and her friends took over the whole thing and wouldn't stop bugging us. My parents think it's unfair to turn down a party that would include both of us, and said I should be grateful for any birthday party. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. And your suggestion of a sleepover for me separate is a good one. It costs next to nothing to have friends sleep over. Whatever food/cake expenses are there would have been more or less built into the joint party anyway. If you were turning 3 and 6, fine. If you were turning 30 and 33, fine. The 3 years between 13 and 16 are a chasm. Hope your parents reconsider, and if they do not, pick the lesser of two evils, having the joint party or having no party. Happy birthday in any event. The lesser of two evils is definitely not having the party. At least in my eyes it is. Would one of your friends host you that night? Acknowledged. It is super rude to ask. If a sleepover would make you happy and commemorate the night for you, and get you away from a bunch of 13-year-olds at no expense to your parents, it may work out for everyone. Not Dayhal. If they wanted to celebrate you, they'd do something you wanted. They want to get credit for celebrating you when it's all about your sister. Not Dayhal. This above post is right. I had to share a birthday party with my brother the entire time growing up, because his birthday was 364 days behind mine, and the party swiftly became all about him, only son. It was a time of celebration for him. Cake, presents, etc. For me, not even a cake. No cards, no presents, because my birthday happened to be the next day. This happened each and every year. And when I left home, they totally ignored my birthday. Not even a phone call. It starts with a shared birthday and goes downhill from there. Not always, but they rarely turn out well. OP is stand your ground. Your parents don't have to spend money. A cake can be made at home. A sleepover is inexpensive. Don't let this shared birthday party happen. It builds resentment between siblings rather than fosters care and happiness. One of you, either you or your sister, will feel left out/abandoned.
My partner left me, so I told everyone he doesn't have cancer. Plus update. Original post. My partner told me when we first got together that he has cancer, and if his operation doesn't go well, it could be terminal. He said his treatments have also made him infertile, so imagine our shock and joy when we found out I was expecting at the start of 2024. We now have a beautiful 5-month-old daughter who is perfectly healthy and thriving, and he is in remission. My pregnancy was difficult and lonely because of all the intense treatments he went through while waiting for his operation. I did a lot on my own, knowing he desperately needed this to have the best chance possible of shrinking his tumor before having it removed so we can have a long, happy life together as a family. He is currently living with his mom while he is in recovery, so that it takes the pressure off me caring for both him and our baby until he is well enough to move into our new home with us. He still comes to our house, and we go to his mom's all the time so our baby isn't missing him. On Wednesdays, he has his daddy-daughter days where it is just the two of them to make sure they are bonding well, and he has to practice until he is well enough to care for her at home full-time and give me a little break too. Last week, we had an attempted break-in at the house. I asked him to come over and stay here while I'm waiting for the locks to be changed because I'm scared, but he wouldn't. I was talking to his mom too, who slipped up telling me he wasn't home. Long story short, this is Reddit. I'm sure you can see where this is going. We argued for over 24 hours before my suspicions became too much, and I went to Facebook. It took me less than an hour to find the first two women. During my pregnancy, I was suspicious of a lot of things and put it all down to my hormones, as he would continuously tell me that I am paranoid and hurting him when I ask. One thing my paranoia just wouldn't let up about was his cancer and his treatments. I asked his mom about it, who told me he doesn't have cancer, but he is having treatments. He has an autoimmune disease for which he receives transfusions. Very serious but nowhere near terminal, and no operations required. She also informed me he was in rehab, not the hospital. He was addicted to cocaine and was trying to recover for me and our baby. I never mentioned to him that I knew. I assumed it was the embarrassment of wanting to get clean without me knowing, so he could be a good partner and dad. I was so proud of him for getting that help that I never spoke about it. With his autoimmune disease, his mom explained how brutal it has been for him and that he did have chemo a few years back, so maybe that's why he's confused. Pregnancy brain is a real thing. Or maybe I'm just too blindly in love because I accepted this and never questioned it again. After discovering the first two women, I sent my partner a message telling him to let his girlfriend know I'm asking after her and not to bother coming home anymore. I've had the locks changed from the break-in, so he can't get in. He panicked and started begging me to answer the phone and let him come see me so he could explain everything. I started to see everything through clear eyes for the first time and realized how long he had been gaslighting me for and told him no. Realizing he couldn't get through to me and now aware I was trying to contact his girlfriend, he panicked and went to her instead. During that time, I found a photo she had shared of the two of them and shared it to my profile with the caption, "Can someone please ask this woman to contact me?" She instantly blocked me, but her sister got in touch with me instead. Apparently, the family has never trusted him and knew something was wrong. This affair is serious enough to have met the family. She says he has told her not to speak to me, as I'm a deranged stalker he slept with once years ago and have been hunting him down trying to convince people my baby is his. I sent her a photo of the birth certificate and us in the hospital together to show her sister before he can lie to her anymore. During this, I am also messaging another woman who is furious at what he has done and is helping me with all the information she is aware of. She tells me he broke her heart by cheating on her, without even knowing he was cheating on me too. So far, I have the current timeline. Chemo in March, a 19-year-old. Rehab in April to July, a woman of an appropriate age this time, but also cheating on her. August to now, his 20-year-old girlfriend. I then find out his emergency cancer medication that he had to leave for in the middle of labor was actually the fact my two failed epidurals, screaming in agony, begging the doctors to help because I thought I was dying while the emergency team rushed in to place extra monitors on our baby in distress was actually just a huge turn-on for him. So he needed to go sleep with a 20-year-old before making it back, just in time to kiss me before I went into emergency surgery. This was Sunday. It is now Saturday the following week. I made a post on Facebook calling out my partner for his actions, with photographs, medical notes, and evidence, and asking people to leave me alone on Tuesday after 48 hours of no sleep, multiple calls to the crisis team, and a barrage of harassment from his friends and family who want to sue me for character defamation. If this was a regular affair, I'd lick my wounds and move on. But I have now learned I have been leaving my daughter alone with a drug addict who is claiming he doesn't know me or his daughter to others, but demanding custody rights to me. Tens of women have now come forward who have also dated him during our relationship with no idea of me or each other. This is obviously really upsetting, but what upsets me the most is that I begin to notice a very worrying pattern. He has told every single one of these women that he has cancer and can't get them pregnant. I mentioned that my labor and delivery were difficult. I was induced due to an infection. My GP informed me that I had an STI. Although I understood, took the treatment, and was induced, my pregnancy brain never accepted it as an STI until I revisited my hospital discharge notes this week, where it was clearly stated, sensitive, partner STI. He has been telling women that he has cancer and can't get them pregnant, so they don't need protection. This led to an STI that almost killed me and his daughter during labor. He wasn't even there with us because he was with a young woman who also believes he has cancer. I decided to inform everyone that he does not have cancer by sharing a screenshot of his mom's messages. I reached out to all the women he has been with to ensure they take pregnancy and STI tests, as well as to his friends, whom he has been deceiving for years about his condition, and also to social services and the police for sexual endangerment. My daughter and I now have safeguarding measures in place from a local organization for women leaving abusive relationships. I feel very safe revealing the truth about him and ensuring all his partners are safe and informed, given that he failed to uphold his legal obligation of declaring an STI. I guess his postpartum girlfriend will do it for him. I have also been contacted by many of his old friends, ex-band members, and ex-partners who have all provided testimonies for the police and as backup in case his mother tries to sue me. This man has been lying and manipulating women for over 9 years. So far, everyone is now aware of his lies, and I am waiting for my in-person meeting with the police. I can't imagine any updates from here, as it will likely be a legal battle that probably can't be shared, but if anything else of interest arises, I will make sure to write about it. Oh, also, my partner is a primary school teacher. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. The plot twist at the end. Holy moly. I know, right? A teacher? Jesus, where are his morals? Also, nobody reported him? It's come to light this week that his ex-partners have been reporting him for years to no avail. His mother is on the school board, and her best friend is his head teacher. I'm hoping with the added element of social services this time, and an investigation into child endangerment for our daughter, they can't sweep it under the carpet any longer. Make it public. Make sure parents know and that the head of the school board has been protecting him. Sadly, I think parents are aware and not receiving help from the school in this situation. One woman he dated during the summer, and she realized who he was when she went to drop her child off at school in September. She's been updating me to let me know that he wasn't seen in school for multiple days. After my health visitors and social worker began the reports on Monday, but he was back in half a day Friday. He's a serial adulterer. He spreads STIs. He lies about having cancer. He's a primary school teacher and he's in a band? Was in a band. I've just found out this week that he wasn't kicked out in 2019 for having cancer like he'd told me, but kicked out in 2018 when his abusive behavior towards women was exposed and they cut all ties with him, except one band member who didn't believe it and never mentioned anything about it to me or gave me the heads up. Now for the update. I have spoken to the police this morning. There is nothing they can do unless they find the drugs on his person in the school, so nothing is stopping him from snorting a line before he starts work, as long as he takes nothing else with him. They've implied the loophole is that they catch him behind the wheel, and if someone reported him driving on drugs, they could catch him that way. They said they can confirm that multiple reports and investigations have begun before even my report, so they are unable to share much information with me, even though the case involves me. However, they told me it is imperative I apply for Claire's Law and have helped me with the application. It can take up to 10 days for my in-person meeting to provide my documents, and then it can take several weeks for the information to be shared with me. Knowing what I do already, I feel sick that they have told me how important it is for me to make this application. I can't believe in a few weeks he's going to disgust me even further when I receive his police records. My only silver lining is that once I have the police reports on top of my medical reports, he doesn't stand a chance in family court. And my girl and I will be free to restart our lives together. Also, another little note, I've been looking for family court advice in a mom's support group and have been informed that, luckily, she's only 5 months old, and any name changes can be made before 6 months with only one parent's consent, and the witnesses don't need to be his choice. So I will be removing his surname and his grand's name from her middle name for her to take my surname and not have any more ties to his family. I just wanted to put an apology in here as well, as a lot of people have commented on my poor writing. I am a new mom who was lacking sleep even before any of this came to light. Everything I've written has basically been just a big vent for me. I apologize if it's been difficult to read. You should also look into the Offenses Against the Person Act 1861. If he knew he had an STI and spread it to you and others by telling you all not to use any kind of protection, that may be illegal. In the UK, knowingly spreading an STI can be considered a criminal offense, particularly in the case of HIV, where you can be prosecuted for recklessly transmitting the virus to another person, potentially facing a prison sentence if found guilty. However, prosecutions are relatively rare and usually only occur when there is clear evidence of intentional transmission or high-risk behavior without disclosure of the infection. My health visitor made the exact same point. She said she would look into it for me and make the report on my behalf, as she has a legal obligation to report everything I said anyway. My worry is that when speaking to the police today, they said that without physical evidence, they can't really do much. Even if multiple women come forward with the exact same claim, it's still hearsay and can't be pursued. I've checked all my past messages and can't find anything in writing from him that can be used. Last story. Update. My boyfriend 24 male threatened to break up over Miss Dior and now won't talk to me 22 female because I laughed. Original post. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years now. Aside from some small bumps in the road, we have been in a very good place throughout the whole relationship. However, last night, things escalated over, in my opinion, something super dumb. But he thinks differently, and now he has stopped talking to me. It started when we were in bed. He was gaming, and I was on my laptop looking to order a new perfume. Since I stopped my job to focus on studying, I don't have as much income, so I decided not to get the expensive perfume I usually go for, Miss Dior. I thought it would be better to find a body spray with a similar scent. As he was looking over my shoulder, he asked me what I was doing, so I explained. He then reacted by saying that I wore Miss Dior in the early period of our relationship and that it is my smell, adding that it was one of the things that attracted him to me. I must admit this annoyed me a bit because I'd rather get that perfume too, but it's just not responsible to do so right now. He started rambling about how I care more about saving money than I care about him. I said that's not true, but he kept insisting that his hypersensitivity issues couldn't deal with adjusting to a new scent. I told him I'd find a scent similar to my old one, but he wasn't content. At this point, he said he'd have to break up with me if I chose another scent. I found this hilarious and thought he surely must be joking, so I laughed, which made him go silent. I let him be because I was really annoyed, and we went to sleep. Now he left early in the morning and hasn't responded to my texts or calls. I have no idea what to do, and I'm starting to doubt how I handled the situation. Any advice? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I'm concerned that you are even asking this question. This boyfriend of yours tried to assert that you must stick with the Dior perfume and never once offered to buy it? What is wrong with him? In any case, his reaction to your perfume choice is very strange. What are you asking us if you did something wrong? For real, if he liked it that much, saw money was tight for her, why not just get it for her? That's what my boyfriend would do, and he doesn't even really like perfume. This is the solution. If it matters that much to you, I assume that means you will start buying it for me? Thanks in advance. Lol, threatening to end the relationship because you don't stick to the brand of perfume he likes? Say that aloud. He is holding the relationship hostage because you didn't smell a certain way. Yeah, definitely take him up on his offer. Easy way to get away from such an a-hole. Now for the update. Wow, first of all, thank you to everyone who gave me advice and some tough love. I did not expect so many of you to help me, and I definitely teared up at some of your replies. After I posted this, I was a bit of a mess, but after hours of ignoring me, he texted me late in the evening and asked me to meet up, because he didn't want us to be in a bad place. I really wanted to talk to him, at least to clear things up, so I went to his place. When I got there, he still seemed a bit disappointed, but he did say he didn't want us to fight. I felt the same but also took your advice to heart, the idea of letting him buy a bottle. For some context, I do think he might be on the spectrum. No diagnosis, but his dad is, and it would make sense. So I did want to show him that I care and take his hypersensitivity seriously. Therefore, I suggested we split the cost of a new bottle of Miss Dior, and then, until that one was finished, I'd make sure to do research to find a really good dupe. He wasn't convinced and told me, "It's not your birthday anytime soon." I explained that I understood, but we both needed to compromise. Well, to quote his literal words, "If you're such a feminist, you should be financially too." That got me fuming. I had no words, so this time I left. Following your advice, I did some thinking about the rest of our relationship. I realized that other things in our relationship that didn't sit quite right with me at the time were actually situations where he was being controlling and self-centered. I had always brushed them off as little things he didn't mean that way or would eventually learn from. I was wrong, you were right. I asked him to meet up today, and I dumped him. I feel terrible right now, but I know I'm better off. So, anyone have advice for a cheap, nice body spray? That was a difficult decision, but the right one. I don't know where you live, but in the UK/Ireland, Aldi does a great Miss Dior dupe on occasion. It's called Perfect Pink. We do have an Aldi here, so I'm going to check it out. Thank you. Jesus, so he demands it and hinges your relationship on it, but won't buy it for you when you aren't financially able? Real winner, this guy. Good for you. He sounded unreasonable. I would have said that he should pay the difference between the perfume you would have bought and the perfume he wanted you to buy. But his comments are so out of line, it's not even worth thinking about anymore. I didn't even think about this. It would have been a good reaction. But since he thinks I have to pay everything because I'm a feminist, I don't think he would have been okay with that either. I'm so tired of people weaponizing feminism. Good riddance. I always found it very hard to be mad at him for long, but when he said this, I felt like he showed his true colors. And I was so done. Update. I think my boyfriend is exaggerating or faking his illness. Original post. I, 26 female, have been with my boyfriend, 30 male, for a little under 2 years. In the time we've been together, his chronic pain, which isn't connected to any particular or known condition as he refuses to go to the doctor, has gotten worse and worse. It's reached a point where he's almost incapable of doing chores or house projects, is usually too exhausted, in pain to make or agree to plans, and getting him to do anything outside of the house together is like pulling teeth. His objections always revolve around his pain and fatigue. I've never suffered from chronic pain, thank God, so I'm not one to judge or accuse someone of making it up, since the pain itself is invisible, and my boyfriend looks perfectly healthy. But he's now been unemployed for about 4 months, and I'm starting to question things. I'm starting to feel doubtful for a number of reasons, and the main ones are that A. He never turns down his friends' invitations to hang out, even when the activity is something physically intense like kayaking, hiking, or going to a music festival. B. He is never too tired or in too much pain to have sex. Over time, it's almost made it seem like he's conveniently in an unbearable amount of pain when he has to do something he isn't all that interested in, like chores. And I'm starting to feel hurt that he just doesn't seem to want to hang out with me outside of what we do lazing around the house. I've never accused him of faking or exaggerating his pain, but I have tried to talk to him about doing more fun stuff together, and it always circles back to his pain or him accusing me of trying to keep him from spending time with his friends, which I'm not trying to do by any means. I've done a ton of research into autoimmune disorders and other conditions that could be causing his problem, always bringing my findings and suggestions to him, but he just doesn't believe a doctor or any traditional medicine will help him. I'm also bothered because when we go to family outings or parties that we're both invited to, it's rare but it does happen, he will talk anyone's ear off about how bad his chronic pain is and how frustrating it is to not be able to find a solution. The thing is, he's not actually looking for a solution. He just smokes weed every day and calls that good enough, while lamenting and complaining that his body is the way that it is. He also refuses to return to work because of his pain. For additional context, he seems to have really extreme muscle spasms and tightness, particularly in his back. I'm happy to support him through hard times, but the fact that he won't work is getting concerning, and I feel severely stuck. I'm not interested in supporting him financially on a long-term basis, but at the moment, I partially am by covering some of his expenses. If this post makes me a total a-hole for questioning the degree of my boyfriend's chronic pain, so be it. I just need help and answers. So, here are my questions. Where do I go from here? Do you think it's possible that my boyfriend is using his pain as a crutch? Should I put some kind of ultimatum in place that will get him medical care or attention? Your advice is appreciated. Now for the top advice before reading the update. As someone with chronic pain, even if he wasn't lying, I'd leave him. Chronic pain freaking sucks, I've been there. It's been over 13 years of it. But it kinda just sounds like he slowly made you into his bangmaid. Either he's faking it so he doesn't have to work or do any chores, or he has no interest in improving his situation, which isn't sustainable if the person isn't going to pursue medical help or disability benefits. Bangmaid that covers his bills no less. Run OP run! Even if he does have chronic illness, he isn't doing anything to get a diagnosis or treatment, and he is willing to push on for things that benefit him and only him. He's also developed a drug addiction he has no plans of curbing. I am chronically ill. I am busting my butt trying to find answers and help because living like this sucks. I do everything in my power to support my partner and care for our home. While sometimes that's not a ton, I always prioritize contributing to my household over kayaking, which even if I could push through to do, would put me down for a week. This man is using and taking advantage of you, disabled or not. He also has dumped this on you without you consenting to be his financial caretaker. You're not married. There is no in sickness and health here. Leave him. The combination of misery because of my pain and the guilt because my partner has to take care of me is enough to drive me into self-hatred most days. The fact that her boyfriend is just content with his life without taking any steps to feel better is wild. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post and was so compassionate and kind. It was incredible to hear from so many people who actively battle chronic pain and illness, and those with loved ones who do. On to my update. Armed with some fresh perspectives and some fresh frustrations, I talked to my boyfriend and told him that he needs to see a doctor, or I will no longer be able to support him financially and stand by while he remains unemployed and unmotivated to get the help he needs. I also addressed the idea of managing and balancing his energy levels differently so that we're able to share household responsibilities more effectively, spend quality time together, and keep him doing the things he loves with his friends. His response was really bad. He told me that if I'm not willing to step up and clean around the house, something I'm already doing, there's no use living together, and that my efforts to clean are the bare minimum and not good enough for his standards anyway. He was also really mad that I haven't taken initiative to take care of yard projects and car repairs. He sat there and spouted off a whole list of things I'm not noticing and cleaning. And once again, he was focused on this idea that I don't like his friends, or I'm jealous of them and want him spending less time with them, which isn't true at all. This really stung. He basically brushed over everything I said and focused on my perceived faults. This told me everything I need to know, and I told him I was leaving. He was just mad, not sad or hurt at all. I'm still crying excessively over his whole reaction. I still don't know how real or unreal his chronic pain is, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Thank you again, everyone, for your support and kindness. I'm truly at a loss. OP, I remember your first post. I know you're very sad right now, and you have a right to be. But don't let grief overstay its welcome. You are so much better off, and he just lost his bangmaid. Expect him to come crawling back when he realizes you're serious. Don't believe anything he says. This internet stranger is proud of you. You deserve someone who can be your partner regardless of whether they have an illness. That doesn't mean they're critical or cruel. Listen to me. You will wait a week, or 2, or 4, but he will try to come back to you. You did everything for him. No one else is going to do that. While taking on all the financial burdens, yeah, he's toast. He was absolutely faking it. You don't need to think twice about it. Update us when he comes crawling back, or once his parents are done with him. Good for you. I remember this from the other day, and I was so upset that you did all that for so long. You're going to be much better off in life, and I'm excited for you. Agreed. I've got a chronic condition. He was 100% faking it because they don't suddenly lessen when you want to do something. This 100%. I have missed out on so many things I genuinely would have loved just because I was struggling too much. I can't even bring myself to do the things that bring me joy or comfort when I am having a bad health day. It wears on your quality of life as a whole, not just your ability to do things you don't want to do. This makes me furious. My wife has a litany of chronic health issues and deals with daily pain. It took her from being on her way to med school to genuinely being unable to work. but yet she is still the hardest working person I've ever seen. Always on top of everything, trying different doctors, still taking care of our daughter and her health conditions. She even became PTA president at her school to do all she could to give her a good school life. Her health has been declining for over a decade, but her determination and perseverance keep growing. I look up to her for the strength she shows. F this guy 1000%. Next story. I, 28 male, am considering leaving my girlfriend, 29 female, after she catfished me as a prank. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 2 years. I always thought she was very sweet and kind, and I really appreciate how much she loves me. And while she sometimes got a little jealous, I didn't think it was a big deal. Heck, maybe I even enjoyed being doted on like that. It made me feel really attractive, which I never really felt I was. Recently, we attended a work event organized by my company, and we met one of my coworkers there. She works at a different branch, and we hardly ever talk outside of work emails and calls, but we get along well enough. This event was my girlfriend's first and only time meeting this coworker. On the way back from the event and the following day, my girlfriend was acting a little weird. She kept asking me about a work wife and asking if I thought that coworker was pretty and other stuff about her. I knew my girlfriend could get kinda jealous, and I did my best to calm her down. No, that woman isn't my work wife. I don't follow her on any socials. I don't even have her personal phone number. I don't think she's more beautiful than my girlfriend, and I am happy with my girlfriend, etc. And she seemed to relax and things got back to normal. A few weeks later, out of nowhere, I got a follow request on IG, my account is private, from my coworker. I approved and followed back. Her account is also private. That account was almost nothing but a few pictures of her in swimsuits, uploaded very recently. I hadn't checked at the time and didn't really scroll her account at all. It didn't look like anything overtly sexy, just normal vacation pics. But there was nothing but vacation pics. It seemed weird, but I didn't really care. Then a few days later, she DM'd me on IG. It was just small talk and I replied, but it wasn't flirty or anything in my opinion. She kept reaching out every few days, and eventually it did seem to get kind of flirty. I told her this felt inappropriate and I was in a relationship, and I'd appreciate it if we kept things professional, which she seemed okay with. My girlfriend seemed extra affectionate the days after that, and while I didn't suspect anything in real time, you can all probably see exactly where this is going. Still, at the time I was happy, and my girlfriend even seemed to be better regarding her jealousy. But then last week, I got a follow recommendation on my IG. It was my coworker's account. This one wasn't private and was just a normal IG account, and looking through it, those swimsuit pics were just a part of her normal IG account, which contained mostly normal pics. I then put 2 and 2 together. Before confronting my girlfriend, I talked to that coworker at work and asked for her IG account, and she gave me her normal one which I followed, and indeed she gave no indication that we ever interacted on IG before. So it became clear I was being catfished. I confronted my girlfriend then, and at first, when I was trying to be subtle, she denied everything outright. Then she shifted to gaslighting me about it and saying it was just a prank, or that it was a test, or that because she was cheated on before, she just needed to know that she could trust me. I told her that her being able to trust me was great, but how am I supposed to trust her now? She said that made no sense and kept deflecting no matter how I tried to explain, going so far as to question how I even knew it was her if I wasn't cheating on her with my coworker. I told her that this was unfair and manipulative, and that I needed some time and went home. She's been texting and calling since, saying that I'm ruining a great relationship over nothing, I'm overreacting, and that when I finally realize how much she loves me, it might be too late, and it's not fair for me to throw everything we built out over some skank. But that just feels incredibly manipulative to me, and like she doesn't get what she did wrong at all. So, I'm conflicted between wanting to just cut and run and giving it another go. After all, we have been happy together for 2 years. But also, can trust be rebuilt after something like this? Now for the advice. I couldn't forgive someone after they breached my trust like this. The fact that she did this with no care for the consequences too? You could have potentially reported your colleague to HR, shows incredibly poor judgment, as well as all of the obvious other problems with this. This is likely not the only unhinged thing she's done in your relationship, and it won't be the last. I don't think she ever did anything on this level before, but obviously there were signs. I just didn't really want to see it, because I was never regarded as particularly attractive, and having someone be this into me just felt really nice. But I guess a lot of this is my own issues I need to work through, and this relationship is clearly not as great as I may have thought. Never stay with anyone who tests you. They want you to fail the test to prove their doubts are genuine. Every time you pass, they'll be loving for a bit until another doubt enters their head and they come up with another test for you to pass. It's no way to live your life. No trust equals no relationship. This is it. I didn't even realize how much of a test some of the previous stuff had been, like asking my opinion on other women or getting my opinion on characters cheating on TV. There was just always something. Last story. My husband, 29 male, and his family disowned his mom, 56 female, after her affair. I didn't. Now the emotional consequences are taking a toll on my marriage. Need advice. I've been with my husband for 7 years, married for almost 1. This has been a genuinely good relationship. I love him deeply, and we've built something I'm proud of. He fits in great with my family, and I've always felt at home with his. I'm close with his younger brother and his girlfriend, but the person I've always felt the strongest connection with is his mom. A few years back, I went through a rough depressive episode, and she was one of the only people who truly showed up for me. She didn't treat me like her son's partner, she treated me like family. I've always loved her for that. I'm close with my father-in-law too, but with my mother-in-law, it always felt like more of a friendship. Then everything flipped. Just after Christmas, my father-in-law sat us all down and told us that she had been having an affair, and that it wasn't the first time. He said he tried to make things work, but he couldn't do it anymore. He was heartbroken, and it shattered the whole family. My husband and his brothers were crushed. They all cut contact with her, and she moved out soon after. I get it. Cheating is a betrayal, especially after decades of marriage. I'm not trying to excuse what she did, but I also couldn't ignore the fact that, during one of the worst times in my life, she showed me care and kindness when I felt like I had no one. That stayed with me. A few weeks ago, she reached out to me directly. She said she was running low on rent and didn't know who else to ask. She sounded anxious and desperate. I helped her. It wasn't a huge amount, and she was incredibly grateful. She asked if I'd be willing to meet her for coffee, and I said yes. When we met, she broke down. She told me she'd tried reaching out to her sons, but none of them responded. I listened. I didn't try to defend her or fix anything. I just tried to be there for her, the way she once was for me. Later that evening, I told my husband about it. He completely lost it. He said I betrayed him and went behind his back, and he left the house. The next day, I tried to explain where I was coming from. I told him I wasn't trying to choose sides. I just reacted to someone I care about being in a tough spot. He didn't say much, just told me not to do it again. When his brothers found out, they were disappointed in me too. They said I crossed the line and should have respected their decision to cut contact. Now I feel stuck. I understand why they're upset. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just couldn't turn my back on someone who once didn't turn her back on me. I wasn't trying to undermine their pain. I was trying to act with compassion. I'm not here to justify what I did, and I understand why my husband feels hurt. I acted on instinct and compassion in a tough moment, but now I feel like I've damaged something really important. I'd really appreciate advice as to what to do further. How do I navigate this? Where you went wrong is not talking to your husband first before meeting your mother-in-law. No matter if your decision was helping her out, no matter what he said, you should have still let him know first how you feel and why. Going behind someone's back and asking sorry later is not how loving relationships works. It's how business relationships work. It's how cheaters work too. It's also how people who condone cheating look. Definitely should have talked to your husband first before going behind his back. I get you wanted to help, but he is your partner who is hurting, and you deceived him just like his mother. Husband's likely fear is that OP thinks cheating is okay.